Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Fernvalley Farms Beekeeping channel. My name is Vince, if we're meeting for the first time. Okay, you're probably wondering what I'm doing out here in the dark. It's actually, it's about 10 to 6 in the morning. I'm just kind of playing around here. I had an idea. This dawned on me the other day, and I thought I'd make a video on it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to check my hives, and I'm doing this in the dark because it shows up better. I probably should have waited till the sun came up a little more, which it's starting to, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to do this in the dark. I have a flashlight. You can't see it, but I have a flashlight I'm holding on for light. What I'm going to use is my thermal gun just to check. You know, I know these counties are all doing really well because during the day they're out flying. They've been bringing in all the syrup from the open feeders. I'm just out here playing around. I did this yesterday morning. I'm like, you know what? I got to do a video on this. It's kind of interesting. Using this thermal gun, it's one of those thermal heat guns, and it measures the heat inside your hive, and you can kind of see how big your clusters are. And this one here, let me turn this flashlight. This is, I forget what brand this one is. You can't see here. This brand, yeah, this ain't gonna work. It's too dark. This is one of your lesser expensive ones. There's one that's really expensive, and it works really well. So anyways, my whole point is, you don't have to buy the super expensive one. The lesser expensive one works, and it does a nice job. It's got a bunch of different settings on it. Let me show you. I'm going to turn it on. See, it's powering on, and it's got different settings on it. And you got to play with this to kind of get comfortable with it and learn how it works. What this really comes in handy for would be, especially in the wintertime when it's cold and you don't want to open your hives, especially up here in the north. Depending on where you live, it's a little bit different. A lot of guys use these when they're removing colonies. You know, if bees go in someone's house and they're trying to see exactly where the cluster is. If they got to cut holes in the walls, you'll see guys using this to see where the heat is. Because what it does, and I'll show you in a minute here, when you aim it, it's kind of like that everybody's using now when you go somewhere taking your temperature and they point it at your forehead and it tells your temperature. It's kind of similar to that, but this measures heat, and you can't see it what it's doing here, but I'll show you on one of the colonies in a minute. But anyways, this really comes in handy in the winter time when you're trying to, you want to see how big your clusters are if you're not quite sure, and you don't want to open your hives up. Obviously, you don't want to let all the heat out. So I'll come out here in the winter time and play around with this. But I thought it'd be just kind of fun to do this, especially in the dark, just something totally different here. And you can just see how big the clusters are. So I'm going to aim this at one of the hives. Let me turn the camera here, and let me get this set up. Okay, I've got this aiming at the hive. See all that? Here again, I could have done this when I got a little bit later on. I just thought it'd be fun to kind of do it in the dark. Sometimes it's a little touchy. When you aim it at the colony, there, see all that yellow? There, you see that? That's the cluster inside there. Let me move this camera closer. Hold on. Okay, I've got this aiming at the hive. See all that? Here again, I could have done this when I got a little bit later on. I just thought it'd be fun to kind of do it in the dark. Sometimes it's a little touchy. When you aim it at the colony, there, see all that yellow? There, you see that? That's the cluster inside there. It shuts off after a while automatically, or my battery's going dead. I don't know if it's too dark or why this is not, it's showing up, but it's like, I'm going to let the sun come up a little bit, and I'm going to turn this camera back. Let me get this out of my face. I'm going to let the sun come up a little bit. I thought this would just be interesting, just doing this in the dark. Let me let the sun come up, because it's showing it, but it's hard for me to pull this up on the camera. See, it's showing it right here. Of course, when the camera's not aiming at it. So I got it right here, and it's showing it. Let me let the sun come up a little bit. I'll turn the camera back on and I'll show you guys how this works. I'll be back in a little while. All right, I'm back. The sun's up a little bit better now. You can see a little more. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do this in the dark, but you couldn't really see. So I've got the gun back out here. I've been playing around with it to see how it works. With this particular gun, like I said, there's different models. There's really expensive ones, and then there's less expensive ones. I didn't buy the really expensive. I bought the less expensive. And it works. For the little bit that I use it, I don't need to spend $300 or $400 for one of these. I want to say this was still like a little over $100, I think, 120. I don't remember now. But it works. I did figure out that you need to stay a little farther away from something to measure the heat. So let me show you this really quick here. And like I said earlier, this just comes in handy in the wintertime. It's cold, you're bored, you want to go do something with your bees. It's kind of a nice day. Bring the gun out here and just check to see how the clusters are, how big the clusters are. And generally up here in the wintertime, the clusters are all pretty much centered right in the center of your hive. When the day warms up, sun comes out, they might fly a little bit, but it all depends. But you can come out here and play around with this just to see if you've got some heat in there. And unfortunately, if I've had a dead one, you don't see anything and you don't hear anything, then you know it's not good. So here again, just playing around with the thermal gun just to show you guys how this thing works. All right, let me turn this camera this way. Hopefully you can see this. I don't know if this is gonna. You hold it back here, raise it back up. You just point it at the hive in the direction. Okay, sorry. I got to change the setting on the battery. I think it's only set for 3 minutes and it shuts off. So let me zoom this in. See all that? See all that yellow? These hives are really, really big. Hopefully you can see this on the camera. I'll find out when I go to watch this. See all that? I'm just going to leave it right here. It's kind of sensitive to where you got to aim it at. There. I pointed just like that. See all that red and yellow? That's all the bees and that's all the cluster. Let's go to the next one. Let's go right here. If I hold it back here, see all that? See how yellow and red all that is? And one way you can tell if it's working, if you take your hand, try it like this. See if you go like this with your hand, see how it, if you hold it back far enough, you can kind of see the shape of your hand. So that's one way you can tell if your gun, hope this is coming out right, it's working right. So anyways, show this again here. Where am I at? See all that? Yellow. That's what you want to see, a lot of yellow. That's a lot of bees in there staying warm. It actually even says the temperature on the screen here. It'll tell you the temperature inside. It says 50 something. 59, but obviously it's warmer than that inside. Let's go over here. Let's do one more. Hold it back here. Sometimes it takes a minute for this to pull this in. See all that? There, look at that. Bright yellow. You gotta learn how to aim this thing right. I think you gotta aim it exactly straight on. I don't play with this thing that often, but look at all that yellow. See that? That hive is packed with bees. It must be set for like a minute or something. I haven't used this for a while. See all that? Look at that. Yellow. That's what you want to see. I know they're in there. Like I said, I'm just playing around. Let's come over here really quick. How come when the camera's not on it, it works good? There, you see all that? There, you see all that? That's on the side of the box. Hopefully you can see that. Every time I move this. There, hopefully this is coming out clear. I'll find out when I do this video, or when I put it on the computer. So anyways, hopefully that's coming out clear enough. So you got the general idea how this works. Alright, well hopefully you got the general idea how one of these works. I almost wish this had a laser beam on it where you could point it. So the beam is pointing right where you're aiming. I'm gonna research one of these again. This one works really nice. But some of the really nice ones are really, really expensive. And like I said, I don't need that. So anyway, we're just playing around here. I was hoping to do this totally in the dark, just for something totally different, but you got the idea how the thermal gun works. Just one way you can check on your hive, see what they're doing, especially in the middle of winter when you don't want to open them, but you want to see how big your cluster is. You use one of these if you have one, and you can just kind of check on your bees, see how they're doing. So anyways, that's it. Just wanted to kind of play around out in the dark, but it quite didn't work. So we had to wait till the sun came up, and you can see here, I'll show you. That's east. You can see the sun's going to come up over those trees over there. It's going to be another nice 80-degree day here in the middle of October. But winter's coming. Only problem is now it gets warm like this, some of these bugs come back out. So anyways, any questions on one of these things, let me know. Or let me know in the comments below if you guys use one. I might check into another one. I'm just curious if they have one that's got a laser beam that points. It'd be a lot easier to point this thing. Kind of like when they take your temperature nowadays and they put it right to your head, the laser beam points to it. And I have one of those things in the house for temperature, but it doesn't have a screen on it. It just has a temperature on it. But when you point and push the trigger, it's got a laser beam and it points where you're aiming. So I'm just gonna look. Not that I'm gonna buy one, I'm just curious. So anyways, any questions, comments, let me know if you guys use one of these. I'm just curious what how you like it, how accurate you think they really are. But you could see on some of these, it was bright yellow. So there's a lot of heat in those boxes. And if you listen to the tops, you can really hear them. So anyways, that's it. I appreciate you watching, and I will talk to you guys really soon in the next video. All right, bye.